I have a friend who hasn't been going to church in over 2 years. I've tried reaching out to him and encouraging him, but he hasn't been really receptive, and he's been negative about church. When I tried to tell him that it was important, even though the church has flaws, his counter has been churches wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, and that John 4 teaches that what is most important is that worship is in spirit and in truth, not in a church building. He has made it clear that he can worship God with a couple of friends and doesn't need to go to church. What should I do? I've been praying for him and understand that he has been going through some difficult personal and family stuff, but I'm not sure what else I can do.
Yeah, Edgar, we hear this a lot. This idea that worship in spirit and in truth means that we don't have to go to church. That's not true at all. Jesus says, John 4:23 and 24, but the hour is. He says this to the Samaritan woman at the well. She asks, "Where is the true temple? Where is the true place where we meet with God?" And Jesus said, "But the hour is coming, and is now here, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father is seeking such people to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth." It's one of the passages that we can misunderstand if we miss the context. Jesus isn't saying that gathering at a church building is wrong. It's a contrast between the new covenant and the old covenant. In the old covenant, the temple in Jerusalem was the center of worship, and Jesus says that. Everyone had to come to Jerusalem to make their offering. But in the new covenant, the building isn't what is important. In fact, we don't really have sanctuaries. We call our church buildings sanctuaries. They're not sanctuaries. They're just buildings where the sanctuary meets. That is, the living stones being built up into the temple, which is Christ. We're part of his body. But that's the important thing to say then. We are part of his body. When his body is gathered by God, assembled together, we are part of that body. If we claim to have Christ as our head, then that means that we are also united to the other members of his body. You can't say, Christ is my head, I have a personal relationship with Jesus, but I don't have to have a relationship with the finger and the foot and the rib. I can just do this on my own or just get a couple of buddies over for a barbecue. No, it means we're gathered, the whole body, locally, gathered to a visible church, a visible expression of his body. When we gather, God works through preaching, baptism, the Lord's Supper, the prayers, the praise, the petitions, the confession and absolution, all the parts of the service. God comes and serves us. If you're not there, you're on one hand you're depriving the rest of the body of the part that you are in it, but you're also not receiving that nourishment that you need for your own spiritual health. So you're depriving yourself and you're depriving your brothers and sisters. So it's a gift. God comes to serve us. You've got to be there. You got to show up at the diner to get the meal. God has promised to meet us there in a way that he doesn't meet us on the golf course or in our private devotions.